Hello, welcome to day 27, and in today's lesson we'll be looking at how to create a data table. In other words, we need to be able to store all of this user information on our database. And for us to do that, we'll be doing that right in Django model. So look at the fields that we need to cater for. The user image, name, in fact we can do first name, last name, the position, then the type, job type, either full-time or on a contract base. Let's dive into it. So right in my code, I think for visibility, let's just go for the presentation mode. All right, so you should be able to see things clearly. I'm just going to come to, so I can hold down either the command or control button just for it to show each of all the menus that I need here, or I can just do on Mac command 1, or on Windows you can do control 1. In case you want to see the functionality, you can always just come here to see, or come to navigation to look for tools and play around all of these things to see how it works. So pretty much what we need right now is to go to our employee folder, then look for model. Now all of these files you're seeing here, as for the view is what we use to display, what we use to write view that will display on the page. The test is where you test your application to make sure that all your test scenarios are right. In other words, you need to be able to tell if your code is going to break and if the type of data you're getting are the data you really want. As for the models are where we store our data table. Now for the app, this is basically just the application, which of course is this very employee app. The admin is where we reference the field that we want to show on Django admin. The cool thing is Django gives us an admin, which we're going to see in subsequent sections. Now let's see what we can do right now in the model. So pretty much the model is empty. However, Django is giving us like a template for us to create our model. Now from Django DB import models. So we're going to use this model to declare some of our classes. And the major class that we need really is employee class. Remember, we learned about class. Let's put it to use. So I'm just going to use the class keyword. Then I'll just say I want employee. This time around, I need the parentheses. In my parentheses, I need to reference these models here. So I'm just going to say models, then call the model method. Model. Perfect. So with this, I can then declare all my fields in it. So what I can do right now, I can just say first name. Then I can then call my models. Let's see, referencing this model. Then we want a child field. So child field is more or less taking an input field. We're going to see how all of this work shortly. So I want the max width of max length of like say 200. That's more like the word count, how many letters. I don't expect anybody's name to be more than 200 letters. Now let's do for second name, or first name, last name, I think. Last name. Okay. So one other thing we can do, we need image, first name, last name, position. We can do position. Let's leave that as 200 as well. Then we need job type. So we can say You can just write employment type. Okay, so we can leave that too as 200. Then let's reference the image. So we can duplicate this. In fact, let's declare image. Models.image field. This time around is going to be image field. Then let's call the upload to. We want to upload to a specific folder. So let's say we can just call it employee. We have to wrap it in a string. Employee. Okay. Another thing we need to do right now is to call the class constructor. If you remember, there was the function that we declared that had init and self. Let's do that right now. So we can just do div string self, right? Then we want to return self dot, let's just say first name. Okay, so we're just returning first name. I'm going to be showing you where this first name is becoming very handy. Now, I think another thing we can take really is the user email. We want to be able to store employee email. So we can go ahead and duplicate this and just call it email. Okay, now there is email field. Email doesn't have max length. Okay, now what do we have again? I think pretty much we're good. One thing we can do is to add timestamp. We can just go ahead and say timestamp. More or less, we want to be able to store every time we create a new object, timestamp. So we can just say model dot date time field. Okay, then we can just say auto. I need to see this method. This is equals to true. Okay, so whenever we create a new object or a new user or employee, it's going to automatically create this date for us. So in other words, we can tell when we created anything. Okay, now that everything looks good, what we can do right now is to just go ahead and run a migration. Now to run a migration, we need to do that on the command line, which is the terminal. So let's see what we have on the terminal. Let me just close this. Let me cancel it. Now to cancel, you just to exit. So take for instance, we run our server. It is currently telling us there's an error. It's saying pip install. Okay, so this is really used to manage images. It's complaining basically because of this image field. For instance, if I just delete it, everything should work fine. Yes. So let's go ahead and install Pillow, which helps us to manage our images. It helps us to render images. Now I'm just going to cancel this. To cancel, just hit Ctrl C and it's going to exit the actual command. So let's install it. Let's install Pillow. And if we run it, if everything works fine, Pillow should install for us. And once we're able to install Pillow, then we should be able to make migration. Making migration simply means you are making the table, you're creating all of these fields on our database. So which means for us to make migration, we need to run Python manage.py. Then we say make migration. Something is wrong there. Think my spelling. Make Python manage.py. Make migrations. I think there should be S at the end. So just watch inside this folder. The magic is coming here, right? So we're making our initial migration. And if you open it, you will see all the fields that you created ready to really migrate to the database. The truth is, under the hood, what you're really doing when it comes to dealing with table is you're either using SQL to make your table query, right? But Django is making it easier, and by running this migration, Django is generating that code for you automatically. So now let's run migrate. So you run migration whenever you make any changes on your model. Then after you run migrations, then you run migrate. And by running migrate, it's just going to create the table. So you can see it applied this very migration. Makes sense. Now, if we go ahead and, so I'm just pressing the up and down button to see the previous command that I ran. If I just run server again, and we come to where we have our app running, if we refresh, everything still looks pretty much cool, right? But Django gives us, so let's say something else. Let's just say Django gives us admin dashboard, right? I'm just referencing the same IP address, right? And I'm saying /admin. So by default, Django gives us admin, right? But now there's no login detail to log into the admin. What I need to do is to exit our running environments and just try to create a super user. So I'm going to create an admin account. I just need to say Python manage.py create super user. Okay, if that spelling is correct, Python should prompt me if I want to create super user. Now, if I leave it blank, it's going to use no Olatoye, which is cool. It's asking for my email address. I can just say instincthub.com. Okay, I think that works. It's asking for my password. I'm just going to create something. Okay, then to confirm my password, just going to repeat it as well. Now I now have an account, so I'll just go ahead and use the name, right? I use Noah. Okay, and I use my password as well. So once I log in, oh, it's throwing error, basically because we haven't run the server. The server isn't running. So just come run the server, and I'm going to refresh here. I'll put in the password again, and I think I should be in. So pretty much cool. We have a backend, right, that we can use to manage our database. But where is the table we created? Where is the employee table we created? It's not here yet. Let's go back to our employee. Then let's look for the admin. Okay, so what we need to do on this very admin section is we need to reference the model that we created, the employee model that we created. And it's really simple. What we need to do is we need to import the model. So we can just say from model. As you can see from these models, right? We want to import employee. Cool. So once we import it like that, what we can do is to add it to our admin site. You can see we're referencing this admin.site.register. Then we want to open our parentheses. We want to open our parentheses and reference our employee in it. Okay, just with this line of code, we should be able to see the employee listed. Okay, I think something is wrong again. Okay, so because we wrote wrong code initially, it's complaining. Let's close it and rerun the server. Something isn't right. Are we getting any spelling wrong? This is register. Let me see. So Python is saying module Django contrib has no attributes set. Oh, this shouldn't be there. So you can see sometimes you need to read the error to see that you're doing the right thing. It should be site, really. I was trying to write site. Okay, not sit. Yeah. Perfect. So you can see that we now have our employee table. In other words, it's possible that we start creating any information for the users that we have. So let's say on here, where's our sample? The first user we have here is Odis. Okay, so I'm just going to copy. Let me see if I can copy all of those. Okay, maybe what we can do is, let's even go ahead and download. Let's try to download. And for us to download, you're going to see the link on your description. I'm just going to click download zip. So once I download, I will have access to the raw code. Then we can just use it in our design. So I think it's done downloading. Let me check my folder. Yeah, so in my download file, this is what I have. This is what I have. So let me see if I can just copy this. I'm just copying. Then I'm going to our template. Inside the template, I'm just going to right click and paste. Yeah, I think it works. Okay, now I am going to change this index. Let me refactor the name. I want to change the index to list. Yeah. Okay. List. Perfect. Let me see if everything works. If I come back to our code here or the browser and I refresh, everything should still work. What I need to do right now is let's declare our static folder. Our static folder just inside the main. I think we can allow it be inside the main. Let's say new directory. Just call it static. Static. Or in fact, let's see the name I gave here. Okay, this is assets. So let's give it static here. Now, static folder. So this is where we're going to store all our CSS and any file that we have at all. So I'm just going to right click, of course, and paste. So I should have, it's asking to add all of this. Of course, we'll go ahead and add. Yes. So pretty much, we've added two things. The static file, then we added the HTML, and also let's see what we can do to the HTML really. So the HTML is inside the employee template. Now what we need, let's create our first table. Our first table, the username, let's look for the these. Yes, so let's just copy this information so that we can make our app look symmetry with what the UX designer had done. So we had first name, last name. So I'm just going to use skills at instincthub.com. Position, let's see what the position is. The position is internship, internist, general. Then employment type, full-time. Okay, so now we need image. Let's try to navigate to where we have our image. Now to navigate to where we have the image, it means that I need to go to desktop, tutorial, 30 days, Django app. I have it in the main, static. Remember where we put the actual static file. Then let's see the image that we have for these. I think I can guess right. This should be what we have for this. No, I think it's this. Right, so if I go ahead and I save it, you should be able to have one record for all these. This makes sense. Okay, we can add many. So let's just go ahead and add for all the users. So we have Alice. Then Alice is the industrial organizational psychologist. It's a full-time work. Then, okay, this is supposed to be here. Then let's say skills as well. And if we try to save, Python is going to complain because all of these fields are required. Let's look for image. Let's just pick that. And if we save, we then have for Alice as well. Okay, so the next is Dale. In Nigeria, we call that Dele. We can just go ahead and Dele is a motion graphic person. Let's call skills as well. Then part-time work. Let's look for picture for him. Let's pick this. Okay, let's go again. Let's do for Steven. I'm just going to copy his in tennis general as well. Okay. Then is a full-time work. Let's pick this as Steven. So I think we should just copy this and paste it on my Spotlight so that I can always copy from there. Then we have Jerry Gray. Jerry Gray. We have tennis general as well. Let's copy the skills email. Let us check the business. His employee type is own business. Okay. Let's look for image for him. Save it. Now let's also see for root. I'm just gonna say root. Position is prevention supervisor. Is a full-time. Let's look for root. Okay. Now let's do for Benjamin. I would just say Benjamin is a licensed vocational nurse. Let's copy our email. Employee type is full-time work. Benjamin, can we have another male's image? Let's use that. This is Wayne. Let's copy the second name. Then is a transport manager. Let's copy the email. Then full-time work. No. Image, this is where we're coming. So let's give Wayne, let's repeat this image. We can just save it. Now let's go ahead again and do for Millicent. So we can just create. What we are doing right now is actually create. We can say is a registered nurse. Studies. Let's copy the email. Let's just pick this image. And if we save it, quite well, we have all our 9 employees, just like the way we have them here. Okay. So pretty much what we need to do next is to be able to display it on our browser, which means we need to customize this HTML static design, right, or static mockup to take the feed from our data table directly which means we'll delete all of this and just reference a very simple line of code. And that's what we'll be doing tomorrow. If you like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on all our social media handles so that you can be notified each time we release a new tip. Until next time, I'll see you in the next one.